slide. Alberto is going to go up next to also make his presentation, and then after this we will take our questions.
Good afternoon. I'm the last one, so it's an honor to be the one to close this second day of meetings. I am Alberto Mercatali. I'm from Telecom Italia Sparkle, and I'm managing the IP backbone since 2003, and we drove the developing of our backbone starting from a network who purchased 70% of its traffic as an IP transit to a tier 1 network. What I want to share here with you is some tips that were helpful for us and maybe could be helpful also for yourself. Africa is seeing now a very fast growth, unprecedented in the past, in the internet with a rate of more than 100% per year. This is, of course, is due to the new submarine cables that finally give the opportunity to bring the real internet also in this continent. And so a lot of networks have the opportunity to evolve from an early stage where they depend 100% from IP transit and start the long run, the long road, start bringing a peering relationship with other networks, and so reduce the dependency from IP transit. Of course, there are several ways to select the peering partners, approach them, and drive the peering relationship with them. Usually, when a network starts to make peering, has a very open policy, so they start asking everybody to peer with them, with results that not always are the best. I'm not a big fan of an open peering policy. I'm more confident with a selective relationship, with a selective peering policy, since gives you the ability of select and drive your peers depending on your targets. What happens if you ask everybody to peer with you? Happens that a lot of networks will say yes, many networks will say no, but at the end you will end up with some frustration for the refusals that you get, a lot of peer relationships that bring you a few megabits of traffic that are not beneficial to you, and the effort to get this peering done is quite high. So the suggestion here is to select in advance the potential peering partners and spend all your possible effort with the targets that you're sure will bring to you beneficial for your networks and your customers. This can be done using a lot of available tools. Some are free, some are require subscription, and for this example I used a free tool. This is not the one I use, but of course, even if the data are basic, are quite helpful for this kind of job. I used for this example CAIDA. CAIDA is an organization who make a lot of research about the internet and publish several information free on the network. One of the tool is the ranking that is based on the AIS14. So they count all the customer routes that depends on a single AIS, so that the customers, and so on. And this is called the AIS score. From that you can see how many networks has a potential peering partner or even a potential IP provider. And so gives you a tool to that will help you to select. Here is the first page where they show the ranking. So typing the address, you insert the AS you want to in this case, your AS. In this case, I've inserted the 6762, that is Seaborn. And so I got the first snapshot of my network in this case, but can be any other network. So I can see the customer count in this case is around 10,000 networks. So the country and so on. After that, I can go deeper in the analysis, and I get to this chart. This chart shows me who are the networks that are very similar to mine, so have a similar AS cone. With this network, probably will be very easy to agree a peer relationship. Probably they will be useful to me since they have a number of customers that is comparable to mine. So this is the spirit of the peering. Of course, this would need a deeper analysis to see if the routes of this network will be the ones that my customer require and so on. But at the first stage, I think it's quite enough. You can go in the scale a bit up and a bit down to selecting the ones that are 300% bigger or 1/3 of you. All this network will be beneficial to you and will be worth the effort to start a negotiation with them and meet them instead of sending just an email like it happens quite frequently. This is also the same that will be helpful if you want to select an upstream provider. There are some other information that are useful with this, so that you can see in the ranking, you can see also the number of networks that they have. It's better to select a network that is in compliance with you. And just to see if it's transit-free or not. But this is the last chart I want to show, this quite interesting both for peering and for an upstream provider. CAIDA makes also an analysis about the region where the customer routes come from. In this case, you can see that, in this case, Sibon has a lot of routes that comes from Africa. This means that as customers in Africa and in Asia, of course in Europe, and so that these are the routes that you would want to have by your peering partners, because this will mean that you will be able to exchange traffic that is interesting for your customers. So all of this is just to say, be more selective, maybe be more profitable for you in bringing at home a peer relationship and peer relationship that will work. Since a peer relationship is not all that free, because it needs some effort to agree it, needs effort to maintain. You need to route traffic, so cost in terms of knock time and so on. Of course, this is not the only tool available. There are several others. A person use Renesys that gives some more detailed information, but you need an account to use that. And say that. Thanks to everybody. I hope this could be helpful for your next step.
Thank you very much, Albert, for that presentation. I'm going to invite questions now from the floor. Please just line up at the mic. Let's all be as brief as we possibly can. We do not have a lot of time. Fiona, please start.
My name is Fiona Songa. Chief Executive Officer of the Telecommunication Service Providers Association of Kenya that runs the Kenya Internet Exchange Point, and it goes to the presentation on Djibouti. For starters, I need a confirmation. How many operators are in Djibouti, licensed
I'll go to
Djibouti?
French. Donc je vais parler en français. C'est que bon, je suis le directeur général des Djibouti Telecom.
I will speak in French. I'm the DG for Djibouti Telecom. This is not a question. This is just to talk more about the regional. Our vision is to create exchange points, regional exchange points, and to keep the traffic local, and the opportunities that we've had in Djibouti to be able to realize a regional positioning. And today, 30% of the traffic is more or less local or regional. So this will allow many operators to economize their bandwidth at the regional level, to have a better quality of service on what is video. I think that we in Djibouti have everything we need to play our role of a regional actor. That's why, if there are operators in the region who would be interested to consolidate this project with us, with the assistance of AFNOG, to put in place these regional conditions, we are ready. We will always get inspired by the strategic position that we have put in place. I think some countries in the region, there are even local exchange points in some provinces and departments, and then at the national level, and then we'll go to the regional level. And so we want a regional condition which in the future will also be could be connected to exchange points of countries of other continents. For example, there is MS in Dubai, and we can make the link between with East Africa and the Gulf countries, and I think Africa should not just have one exchange point, because it's a vast continent. 3 or 4 exchange points could maybe be convenient to be able to keep locally all the regional traffic. Thank you for your attention.
That was the Fiona, please carry on now.
If I can get a translation of what he said, because I couldn't hear anything and he cut me short in the middle, that would be very helpful. Before I proceed, if someone could give a translation of what has just been said, because I had not finished asking my question.
Fiona, he probably went over some of the content that has been presented already, and just speaking about how the plan to extend connectivity over and above or beyond the work that the IXP in Djibouti is already doing at the moment. That's it in a nutshell. Sorry about that. Please carry on.
Thank you, Douglas. Now back to my question. I was asking how many operators are in Djibouti, Djibouti licensed operators, because that is what determines whether what they are running is an exchange point or a gateway. I think Djibouti is running a gateway because there is only one operator in Djibouti, and there are many cables, international cables coming in, so Djibouti has provided an international gateway. If Djibouti wants to connect Kenya, you need to talk to me as the CEO of the Kenya Exchange Point, and I will tell you, I can't interconnect with you. But if you want to peer, we will negotiate peering arrangements. And normally we do this at the meeting that had been mentioned by Jen Coffin earlier, the Africa Interconnection and Peering Forum. But the discussion should be on a win-win arrangement for all of us. However, if the Djibouti Telecoms feels overly philanthropic and they want to maintain transit between Djibouti and Kenya, I will be happy to put in a proposal for funding to help grow now the Kenyan exchange point that has got 38 operators running it. Thanks.
Okay, Ale Aina. Frank, I have two questions for you. So if I got you correctly, you said in one of the slides that the newer ISPs are the one disaggregating the most and polluting the routing table. Is it correct? One of the slides, I think
Did you talk to Frank?
the last or the
This
one
is
of the
addressed at
slides from
Frank.
Philip Smith said the newer ISP are the one disaggregating the most. But when I saw the list of people, the African ISP with the disaggregation factor, I see the old ISP we know there. So I'm a bit confused on that. And the second point is about your second presentation where you mentioned I send more specific out, okay, than I send to the exchange point. So I want to find out what is the issue. Is it because it's so easier to disaggregate to the internet and harder to disaggregate to the exchange point? So what are the reasons why people are not doing the same BGP announcement to the upstream and to the exchange point?
Hi there, I'm Mike from Google. So this is a question for the lady from Djibouti Telecom. Thank you very much for the tour earlier of your cable landing station and the Djibouti data center. It was very interesting. My question for you is about the Djibouti data center, and you mentioned that it's a carrier neutral data center. Does that mean that any operator from anywhere can bring their own fiber into that building? Is that possible?
She will respond shortly right after the rest of the questions. Please.
Thank you, Douglas. Hi, my name is Nishal Gobardhan. I'm the general manager for the 3 internet exchange points in South Africa, the Jinx, the Dinks, and the Sinks. I'd like to extend an invitation to Djibouti Telecom. We would love to have you connect into South Africa to one of the exchange points and peer as a regular participant. I'd like to reiterate something that my colleague Fiona has said, that at least for my 3 internet exchange points, we are not really looking to interconnect with anybody else, but we really would love to have you participate. My other 2 questions were taken up by Mike and Alain. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have the last question before we get responses. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Huja from University Sheikh Anta Diop of Dakar. I have a question for the Djibouti Telecom presentation. I would like to ask how many network operator and ISPs you have in Djibouti, and is your exchange point just international transit gateway or just or a national exchange point? Because if I look at the diagram, you must have connection with other continents and not I don't see what is done locally to keep your local traffic local. And I would like to know what is your peering policy if you have with your other peers. Thank you.
Thank you. We had a bulk of questions coming through for Djibouti, so we'll get responses. After the responses. After. Thank you.
I will answer to Mike Blanche. The question, if I understood, was, can any operator bring his fiber to the data center? That would be no, because the only backhaul in Djibouti is owned by Djibouti Telecom. And what we can do is to we sell that backhaul to bring you to the data center. Does that answer to your question?
I thank you for your answer. It does answer my question, but as somebody else commented, it's a different definition of carrier neutral to the one that's used elsewhere.
I'm sorry for my broken English. I apologize for this. So I prefer to avoid any misunderstanding to go to French. So please put your cask.
I'll speak in French. Yes, there is the question from Kenya, the question from the last lady who spoke of what is done in locally to exchange traffic locally. Today in Djibouti, in the Republic of Djibouti, there is only Djibouti Telecom, which is the operator of telecommunications. Only one operator. It's Djibouti Telecom, which gives fixed and mobile services and internet services. There are no other operators today. Maybe it will come in the future, but for now, it's just Djibouti Telecom. This is the first point. Second point, we, taking into account the size of our market, we have as a vocation regional vision related. We want to interconnect with the regional exchange points. That's why I would like to other countries of the region to benefit from the infrastructure. Kenya is already connected with Djibouti via the EC cable. So let's say, for example, that there is traffic, that they may have customers, that there may be customers who are in Ethiopia. What would be interesting to be able to go into international, to go to the US and come back to Ethiopia, or is it better for them to exchange regional traffic, knowing that in Ethiopia, out of Djibouti? For a telephone, for telecom, I remember there was a time where African countries that are neighbors would call each other, and they would have to go through Intelsat or other countries to talk to each other, to call each other. Today, the problem is the same for internet. Why the traffic between African countries does not remain local? This is the question. It's true that there was the idea that there was not enough in Africa, so Africans had to go to get content from elsewhere. I think today we have the competence and the means to have a mutual infrastructure and our knowledge and intelligence of cloud computing to be able to develop local the infrastructure and the content are things that are interrelated. If we can have a solution for this, why not keep in local the traffic of our region? And do we always want to go out and spend unnecessarily money on international levels, or whereas we can save on bandwidth? So this is the other point. Can everybody bring their fiber? There are several aspects to this. We are open. We are a very welcoming, hospitable continent, which is virgin. We have a lot to build. But we are not naive either, because that's a past story now. We want to be the actors of tomorrow, of the information technology. What we can do locally, if we have the necessary competence to develop ourselves, we have to do it ourselves. if we need assistance, external assistance and consultation, investment and assistance, we are happy to get those. But it should always to be win-win relationships. We are open to discussions for win-win. For a little cake that is on the table, and somebody comes with a big knife and says, "I want this," but without added value, I say, "Sorry, you wait for me a little bit." Thank you.
Go with the response. I know probably some people in the audience are going to have some follow-up questions, so I'll let that come right after Frank. Perhaps as Frank starts, a question from me. I was looking at the instability report. Unfortunately, I didn't look very closely, so if you can tell us especially what is relevant to us. So there was an instability report. Is any of this, how do you quantify what's coming from the region? And what should anyone be, should it be a cause for concern that I have ASNs and prefixes that show up in your report?
Okay, maybe I will try to do that one first. I don't know a lot about the instability report. I haven't seen any African networks on the top of it at my first and only glance at it. But what I would like to emphasize is that when a rerouting happens because of an outage or of traffic engineering or anything, or a new turn-up of any circuit, it is a very big difference to the load of many, I don't know, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of routers in the whole world, whether they update one route or 100 routes or 200 routes. So the de-aggregation report also comes into play. We should try to de-aggregate so that not many prefixes have. I unfortunately don't have specifics of example comes to mind for in an update report. Now about the question from Alain Einer. The first one, whether it is mostly new operators that are de-aggregating, I think I didn't say that. One thing that I remember from a presentation that Philip Smith gave a few months ago at MINOC is that at the moment, for some time already, APNIC only gives out address blocks of /22, which are relatively small. So there are many requests of small blocks in APNIC right now, and they all show up separately in the routing table, and that contributes a little bit to the size of the total routing table and to the number of /22s that are showing up. And about the second small presentation about de-aggregation to uplinks and keeping the local traffic local, I believe it's partly caused by network operators, ISPs, after they have established the peering relationship or connected to an IXP, they are following the good advice they are always given to aggregate their prefixes, and they have only one or two big prefixes nicely aggregated that are announced to the IXP. But then they have a need for traffic engineering, maybe to their upstreams, and they announce more specific routes to their upstreams, or maybe, I believe, some providers have the belief they need to protect themselves against prefix hijacking and want to announce all their /24s to avoid incidents that either maliciously or accidentally somebody announces their prefixes and draws traffic elsewhere. Thanks.
Thank you, Frank. I'm going to invite another set of questions, starting with the gentleman who was going to ask a question. While he's moving to the mic, I just wanted to ask a question. Djibouti Telecom, you want to set up a tier 3 data center. just to make sure you can move packets around. If that's all that's going to be in the data center, looks like an overkill for me. I am sure you already understand that there's going to be a lot of investment in keeping a tier 3 data center. How do you justify this? Please. Just before you go, we need to really, really be brief. I have about 10 minutes more to go, so 5 actually. Please turn the mic on.
Oh, sorry. Merci. A question for, I'm Simon Mouillard from France AIS, a French internet exchange point. A question for Djibouti Telecom. You say you want to start creating a regional exchange point, and the third phase is to exchange with Europe. Do you have any idea on how to do it already, or is just some plans? Thank you.
Those would be the last questions that we'll take.
Mathieu Panessa, Jaguar Network. Je vais poser, I'm going to ask a question in French for Djibouti Telecom. Donc, c'est plus un commentaire concernant ce que...
It is more a comment. You said that you have a monopoly market in Djibouti, and you would like also to attract foreign operators. You are in a contradiction because you do not want to have operators in Djibouti and you wish to attract. In Dubai there is an internet free zone, and they can do peering, but they cannot go into the official territory of Dubai. This has been done with the AIX. The problem with attracting people here is to pay the backhaul, and this has a cost for the operator. The local operator has a cost for the backhaul, but in Europe or Middle East or somewhere in Asia, the land backhaul is less costly, and sometimes it is preferable to buy from a transit. And I think you have a lot of thinking about this problem, and I think that you are not going to attract foreign operators. Je crois que je vais dire, je vais parler français. Je parle français.
Yeah, as I suspect, as
Spanish car.
a regional hub, whether that's interconnecting IXs or being where traffic comes together to be an aggregation point. The exact mechanism can be discussed. And as the gentleman from Djibouti Telecom said, I think it would be definitely worth having an open discussion about how we can make Djibouti more open, because there is such an opportunity in this region to attract traffic from other countries and other places that are not open. And the Djibouti has a strategic location. It has carriers such as Sparkle here and Level 3 who are on the beach. And to be able to make it a regional hub, I think would be a real success for Djibouti. So that's just the comment I want to make. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to let Djibouti Telecom respond. We only have 2 minutes. Unfortunately, we've overrun our time. You can have time after this session to meet with the members from the community and give them more information. For now, let's keep it at 2.
Merci, merci beaucoup.
You. It is a relevant question, which is very interesting. It is interesting. We thought about the problem. We thought about the current situation and about our ambition, as well as the challenge that we have to take up. The idea of Dubai seduced us, and we would like to take that example. The vision of Djibouti 2035, digital Djibouti. In this vision, we would like to put in place an IT-free zone, which will be a technopole gathering all the internet actors that we are going to attract and to call in order to set up in that free zone. The telecommunications and IT will come to set up in that free zone, and from that point we are going to talk about how to create an ecosystem so that we can play fully the role of a regional hub. We understood this, and the example of Dubai is concerning the example of Dubai. We tried also to develop partnership with Dubai concerning the ports, and the partnership started in 2000, and today we have 5 ports. 3 other ports are in construction and 2 are existing, and it is the same approach that we kept in Djibouti, so that Djibouti can be a regional hub concerning the IT. We had also another question. If you are the other question was if you want to be to have the monopoly in Djibouti, how you are going to attract other operators? That is true. We have a national strategy in Djibouti, and this national strategy is putting in place regulations. Before the end of the year, there will be a sectoral policy, and the government is want to move forwards, and in many African countries, there are a lot of operators, and in Djibouti also, we are not going to go alone, but we have chosen to follow a progressive approach and see what will be the results. To see first what are the results in the other countries, and from that point we took a different approach. In some countries, they started to sell licenses before. But our project is to have a well-thought approach, progressive approach, and there will be an openness, progressive openness to the market competitiveness. And I think we're going to have time to discuss outside this meeting. Merci. Merci.
In the interest of time, we're going to have to end this discussion at this point. The people who still have follow-up questions, which I'm sure there are many. I personally do have some, so we'll get in touch and make sure we have some more discussion after. For now, we're going to close this session at this point in time, and I'm going to hand it back to you guys. Badru. I think the Badru is going to come and share what is coming up next, so we know what the other events of the evening are.
Good evening, everybody. Well done. Thank you very much. We've really got to the end of the day. I think it's end of the AFNOG day for 2014, and thank you for all the participation. I'm sure it's been a very fruitful day and a foundation for how we build forward, and it's positive that we've ended with our host. And I like the message is the fact that we're actually at the hub of, at least for the East Africans, this is really our hub for connectivity. So building onto the regional hub concept, it is a positive point, and let's see how we build on that. So thank you very much, and I'd like to again thanks a lot to our sponsors and hosts, Djibouti Telecom. With that, let's have a round of applause for all of ourselves. Thank you very much. And we cannot end without saying AFNOG. Not loud enough. AFNOG. Thank you so much. Please remember, tomorrow we'll start the plenary in here at 9 o'clock. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Good night.